Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive.
Wow.
Today we're going to be talking about something that I think is super relevant to a lot of you out there. Stoicism, and how modern business leaders are using it to not just survive, but actually thrive as entrepreneurs in this crazy world.
Yeah, it's interesting how this philosophy that's literally like 2,000 years old is having like a major resurgence.
Right.
And you see people like Elon Musk and Oprah who've definitely faced some obstacles in their lives. They actually use a lot of these principles in their own journeys.
Just like this ancient wisdom is suddenly the new cutting edge thing.
Exactly.
So where do we even begin with Stoicism in the world of entrepreneurship?
Well, I think you could say it all starts with mastering oneself,
Okay.
Stoicism really emphasizes this idea of emotional regulation. And I think that's crucial for anyone, but especially entrepreneurs who are constantly facing uncertainty and pressure. It's kind of like building that inner fortress of calm.
So like staying cool, collected, in control, even when everything around you feels like it's on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes sense when you're juggling a million things and making tough decisions every single day.
Exactly. And one of the most famous Stoics, Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, imagine the weight of an entire empire on your shoulders.
Oh yeah?
He knew a thing or two about pressure.
For sure.
And yet his writings really stress this idea of staying grounded, focused on what you can control, even in the midst of utter chaos.
Okay, so that's a pretty powerful image. And that idea of focusing on what you can control, I mean, I see that a lot in modern leaders too.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Bezos with his, emphasis on clarity of mind, or Tim Ferriss with this whole approach to like deliberate action.
Right, because it's recognizing you don't have control over every single external event, but you do have control over your own thoughts, your reactions, and the decisions that you make.
Right.
And that actually brings us to a key Stoic concept, the dichotomy of control.
All right, let's unpack that. Dichotomy of control. What does that actually mean in practice?
Yeah, so let's get specific, right? Let's imagine you're an entrepreneur and you lose a major client. Or a product launch just completely flops. Or maybe there's like a sudden economic downturn. These are all things that are totally outside of your control.
Definitely some serious curveball stuff that could make anyone panic.
Right. And so Stoicism basically says, accept what you can't change, but pour all your energy into what you can influence, which is like your strategy, your mindset, your work ethic. It's where resilience comes in, and that's a muscle that you can actually build.
So instead of getting bogged down in what went wrong, you kind of shift gears and focus on finding solutions, getting back on track.
It's about turning obstacles into opportunities.
Okay.
There's this really intriguing Stoic concept called amor fati.
Amor fati. Okay. That sounds intriguing, but also a little intimidating. Does that mean you have to like actually enjoy the bad stuff that happens?
Not necessarily. No, it's not about like enjoying setbacks or anything.
Right.
It's about seeing those challenges as chances to grow, Ryan Holiday, who writes a lot about Stoicism, often quotes Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way.
Whoa. Okay. That is deep. So it's like those challenges actually become part of the path to success, almost like signposts pointing you in a new direction.
Think about Steve Jobs getting fired from Apple.
Huge setback.
Right, huge setback, but that led him to create Pixar and NXT,
Right.
which eventually paved the way for this like triumphant return to Apple. It's about not letting the setback define you, but reframing the narrative.
Now that is a powerful example. So Stoicism isn't about like just enduring the hard stuff.
Right.
It's about using it to fuel your growth, almost like alchemy, like turning lead into gold.
That's a great way to put it.
And I imagine that mindset becomes incredibly valuable when you're talking about making those big decisions that entrepreneurs face all the time,
Yeah.
often under immense pressure.
Yeah.
So how does Stoicism actually help with that? Making those tough calls when the pressure's on.
Well, it brings in the power of rational thinking.
Yeah.
It's about stepping back from those knee-jerk emotional reactions and analyzing the situation with a clear head.
Okay.
There's this practice in Stoicism called premeditatio malorum.
Premeditatio malorum. Okay, you're gonna have to break that one down for me. That sounds a little intense.
It essentially means visualizing potential problems before they even happen.
Okay.
So by mentally preparing for those challenges, entrepreneurs can make much calmer, more well-informed decisions, even when the pressure is on.
So it's like a mental dress rehearsal for all the different scenarios so you don't get caught off guard.
Exactly. Think of it as like stress testing your decisions before they actually go live.
I like that.
And it actually connects to Elon Musk's approach of first principles thinking.
Right.
breaking down complex problems to their core truths to uncover like innovative solutions.
So they're using these Stoic tools to think more strategically, more creatively. It's like upgrading your mental operating system.
Absolutely.
But we all know that running a business isn't just about strategy. It's a huge emotional roller coaster.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Fear of failure, criticism, pressure to perform, all of that. So how does Stoicism address that side of things?
This is where the power of perception comes into play. Another famous Stoic, Epictetus, said, "People are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them."
So it's not the actual event itself that stresses you out, but how you choose to see it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wonderful.
And so entrepreneurs who understand this, they can reframe those setbacks as valuable learning experiences.
Yeah.
Criticism becomes feedback, and that builds serious emotional resilience,
Right.
letting them ride out those inevitable storms that come with building a business.
So it's about finding the opportunity that's hidden within the challenge, shifting your perspective to see the silver lining.
Yeah.
But what about the ethical side of business? Where does that fit into Stoicism?
Well, Stoicism puts a huge emphasis on virtue, on core values like honesty, fairness, courage. And for entrepreneurs, this translates to leading with integrity no matter what.
But how does that actually play out in the real world of business, where it can feel like it's all about cutthroat competition?
Right. Well, integrity builds trust.
Okay.
And trust is the foundation for any successful leader. And so when leaders prioritize virtue, not just the bottom line, they actually create more sustainable businesses.
Right.
They inspire deep loyalty, both in their team and their customers. You know, think of companies like Patagonia or Tesla, where values-driven leadership is a key part of their success.
So it's not just about doing good, it's good business.
Absolutely.
It's almost like virtue becomes a competitive advantage.
It really does make you wonder, doesn't it? Is it simply about ethics, or is there a deeper strategic element at play?
So all this is great in theory, but how do you actually live Stoicism? It can't just be a bunch of quotes and ideas.
Right. No, it requires practice. You're right. And a lot of Stoic entrepreneurs incorporate daily habits to keep these principles front and center in their lives.
So what kind of habits are we talking about here?
Well, journaling is a big one, you know. Marcus Aurelius kept a journal for self-reflection, and you see figures like Tim Ferriss doing similar practices today.
Okay.
Reflection, mindfulness, these are all ways to stay grounded, stay aligned with your values, even in the whirlwind of running a business.
It's like taking time to check in with yourself, make sure you're still on track.
Exactly.
But what about when you're leading a team? How does Stoicism play out in that dynamic?
Well, a leader who really embodies Stoicism can inspire their team simply through their actions, especially during challenging times.
Okay.
They stay calm, they stay focused on finding solutions, and that sets a powerful example for everyone.
So leading by example, showing that composure under pressure.
Exactly.
I can see how that trickles down and impacts the whole team.
Absolutely. And Stoicism also emphasizes empathy and understanding, which are essential for connecting with and inspiring your team. People are naturally drawn to leaders who show patience, fairness, and that genuine commitment to shared values.
It's like Stoicism creates this ripple effect from the leader to the team and outward. But let's zoom out even further. What about the bigger picture, the legacy of Stoic leadership?
Right, because it's not just about immediate business results.
Right.
It's about the lasting impact these leaders create.
Right.
Stoicism emphasizes resilience, integrity, wisdom, qualities that go way beyond any particular business venture.
And we see that in figures like Warren Buffett and Oprah Winfrey. I mean, they've achieved incredible success, but they're also admired for their character, their wisdom, their ability to overcome obstacles.
Right. Their journeys are a testament to how Stoic principles can lead to not just professional success, but a deeply fulfilling life as well.
It's amazing to see how these Stoic ideas, from ancient emperors to modern entrepreneurs, are still so relevant today. But before we move on, I want to hear from you, the listener. Which Stoic principle has resonated with you the most so far? And how might you start applying it in your own life, whether you're running a company, leading a team, or just navigating your personal journey? We'll be back in a moment to continue this deep dive into the world of Stoicism.
You know, it's interesting. One of the things that strikes me about Stoicism is how it emphasizes the importance of like a long-term perspective.
That's interesting. I can see how it'd be easy to get caught up in, the short-term chaos of just running a business. So what do you mean by long-term perspective in the context of Stoicism?
Well, think about how much of the business world today is focused on instant results, like quarterly earnings, the next product launch. It's all about what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Stoicism encourages us to think a little bit bigger, to play the long game.
So it's about building something that lasts, that has a deeper purpose, rather than just chasing those quick wins.
Exactly, and that requires a certain level of resilience, the ability to weather those inevitable storms, to learn from the setbacks, and stay focused on your core values even when things get tough. It's about seeing the bigger picture beyond the immediate crisis.
Yeah, I love that. It's like that saying, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but applied to building a business and a life.
Right.
But how do you actually cultivate that kind of long-term thinking when it feels like everything in our culture is pushing us towards the short term, that instant gratification?
Well, it starts with recognizing that true success is a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
Stoicism reminds us that there will always be challenges, obstacles, unexpected curveballs. It's not about avoiding them, it's about learning to navigate them with grace and wisdom, and remembering that those challenges can often lead us to unexpected opportunities.
So embracing those ups and downs, seeing them as integral parts of the journey, rather than deviations from some imaginary, perfect path.
Precisely, and that actually connects beautifully to another key Stoic principle, the idea of living in accordance with nature.
Okay, living in accordance with nature. That sounds very philosophical, almost poetic. What does that actually mean for someone running a business, making those tough calls day in and day out?
Well, it means recognizing that we're all part of this larger system, this intricate web of interconnectedness.
Okay.
And that system, just like nature itself, includes both order and chaos, times of growth and times of decline.
So accepting that, life and business isn't always going to go our way, that things aren't always going to be smooth sailing.
Exactly. It's about surrendering to what is, but not in a passive way. This acceptance actually frees us from the need to control everything, to resist the natural ebb and flow of events. Instead, we can learn to adapt, to flow with the current, and to find opportunity even in the midst of those, seemingly negative events.
I love that image of flowing with the current. It's almost like you're surfing those waves of challenge and change rather than getting smashed by them.
Exactly. And this acceptance, this willingness to kind of let go of that white-knuckled need for constant control, it's incredibly liberating. It allows us to focus our energy on what truly matters. Our values, our relationships, the impact we want to make on the world.
It's like shifting from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance.
Right.
Instead of constantly striving for more, we can pause to appreciate what we have, who we are, the unique journey that we're on.
It's a powerful shift. It opens up space for gratitude, for genuine joy, and for a deeper sense of purpose.
It sounds like Stoicism isn't just a philosophy for dealing with the tough times, it's a philosophy for living a good life, a life filled with meaning and intention.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And one of the things I find most inspiring about Stoicism is its emphasis on personal responsibility.
We talk a lot about personal responsibility these days, but it often feels like the conversation gets bogged down in negativity. What does personal responsibility mean in the context of Stoicism?
Well, it's easy to fall into the trap of blaming external circumstances for our problems. Sure.
The economy is bad, the market is too competitive, I just didn't get lucky.
Right.
We've all been there, but Stoicism reminds us that we always have a choice. We can choose how we respond to those external events, how we interpret them, how much power we allow them to have over us.
So taking ownership of our own experiences, our own reactions, rather than playing the victim, recognizing that we always have agency, even when it feels like things are spiraling out of control.
Exactly, and that realization is incredibly empowering. No matter what challenges we face, we always have the power to choose our response. And that response, in turn, shapes our experience and ultimately shapes our future. We become the authors of our own story.
It reminds me of that Viktor Frankl quote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." That feels very Stoic.
It's a perfect articulation of that mindset. And this idea of personal responsibility, it extends beyond just our own individual experiences.
It also encompasses how we interact with the world and how we contribute to the larger community.
So recognizing that we all have a role to play, a responsibility to make a positive impact in the world around us.
Precisely. Stoicism places a high value on virtue, on living a life that's in alignment with our highest values. For entrepreneurs, that means not just building successful businesses, but also contributing to the greater good. It's about recognizing that our work has a ripple effect, and choosing to make that ripple a positive one.
So using your success, your influence, your platform to make a real difference. And that could look like a lot of different things, from how you treat your employees, to the kind of products you create, to the causes that you support.
Exactly. And we see this reflected in the lives of so many successful entrepreneurs who are embracing these Stoic principles. They're not just focused on profits, they're committed to causes they care about, to leaving the world a little better than they found it. They're using their platform to lift others up.
It's like they understand that true success isn't just about what you accumulate. It's about the positive impact you have on the world.
Absolutely.
And that's something we can all aspire to, no matter what stage of the entrepreneurial journey we're in.
Absolutely. Stoicism reminds us that we all have the power to make a difference, to leave a positive legacy. It's about recognizing that our actions, both big and small, matter.
And sometimes that starts with just simply choosing to be a little kinder, a little more patient, a little more understanding in our daily interactions. It's those small choices that can ripple outward and create positive change.
I love that. It's those little acts of virtue, those moments of genuine connection that ripple outward, creating a positive impact that extends far beyond ourselves.
It's like a chain reaction of goodness, starting with our own individual choices, our own commitment to living and leading with integrity.
You know, in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, it's incredibly inspiring to see how Stoicism is resonating with so many people today. It offers this sense of grounding, of purpose, of inner peace that I think we're all craving.
It's like a compass guiding us through the complexities of life, both personally and professionally.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to hear from you, the listener. What aspect of Stoicism has resonated with you the most so far? How might you incorporate these principles into your own life, your own leadership style? We'll be back in a moment to continue exploring the world of Stoicism and its relevance for entrepreneurs in today's world.
It's fascinating how Stoicism provides this really practical framework for modern leadership, even though it was developed, centuries ago.
It's like they tapped into some timeless truth about human nature and how to deal with all the challenges that life throws at us.
Absolutely. And one of the things that makes it so applicable, I think, is this focus on daily practice. The Stoics believe that virtue isn't something you're just born with.
Right.
It's something that you cultivate through consistent effort.
Okay.
Through the habits you build, the choices that you make every single day.
So it's not about being perfect or like achieving some kind of Stoic enlightenment overnight. It's about making progress, striving to be a little bit better each day.
Exactly. It's a journey of continuous improvement, this lifelong pursuit of wisdom and virtue. And that's actually a really encouraging message because it means that Stoicism is accessible to everyone. It doesn't matter what your background is, your position, your level of success.
It's like a constant evolution, a process of refining your character and your actions over time.
Yeah.
And I imagine that resonates with a lot of entrepreneurs who are often very driven and growth-oriented.
Definitely. And, this idea of daily practice is something that a lot of successful entrepreneurs are incorporating into their lives today. Whether it's through journaling, meditation, or just taking some time for quiet reflection, they're building these Stoic principles into their routines.
Yeah, it's like creating that space for stillness amidst all the craziness of running a business. A time to reconnect with your values, your purpose, and to check in with yourself, make sure you're still on track.
Precisely. And that self-reflection is so crucial for leaders because it allows them to step back from the day-to-day grind and gain a clearer perspective on their priorities, their goals, their impact on the world. It's about making sure your actions are aligned with your values.
Yeah, I imagine it's easy to lose sight of that bigger picture when you're so caught up in just the whirlwind of building a business. So Stoicism kind of offers that reminder to pause, reflect, and realign.
The Stoics understood that true leadership isn't just about constantly striving and pushing forward. It's about finding that balance between action and contemplation, between doing and being. It's about cultivating that inner stillness.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where you're both effective in the world and aligned with your deepest values. You're leading with integrity and intention, not just reacting to whatever comes your way.
Exactly. And this idea of balance connects to another key Stoic principle, this concept of moderation.
Moderation. That's an interesting one. It seems like in the world of entrepreneurship, it's often about going all in, pushing yourself to the limit, hustling 24/7. How does moderation fit into that picture?
Well, it's important to remember that the Stoics weren't advocating for mediocrity or a lack of ambition. Moderation, in the Stoic sense, is about finding that sustainable path.
Okay.
A way of living and working that allows you to thrive without burning out. It's about recognizing your limits, taking care of yourself so you can show up fully in all areas of your life.
So pacing yourself, knowing when to push and when to rest.
Yeah.
Prioritizing your well-being so you can be in it for the long haul.
The Stoics recognize that true success isn't just about external achievements.
Right.
It's also about that inner peace, and living a life that's in harmony with your values and your true nature.
It's like that saying, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul?
Right.
It's about defining success on your own terms, not letting yourself be defined by those external metrics like money or status.
And that's a profound shift because it allows you to detach from the need for constant validation, from that fear of failure, from the pressure to conform to those societal expectations. It's about finding freedom and fulfillment in the journey itself.
Yeah, it's like stepping off that treadmill of comparison and expectation and defining your own path, your own version of success.
Exactly. And in that freedom, you can discover a deeper sense of purpose.
Yeah.
A more fulfilling way of living and leading. You're no longer driven by those external pressures, but by your own internal compass.
It's like Stoicism offers a path to not just success, but to true fulfillment, to living a life that feels meaningful and aligned with your values.
It's a beautiful way to put it. As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Stoicism, I'm really struck by, I think, just the enduring wisdom of this ancient philosophy.
Me too. It's amazing how these principles developed centuries ago can still provide such profound guidance for navigating the complexities of modern life, especially for those of us who are leading, creating, and striving to make a positive impact.
And it's a powerful reminder that this pursuit of wisdom, of virtue, of a meaningful life, it's a journey that's open to all of us, no matter where we are in our path.
And to our listener, we encourage you to explore the world of Stoicism further, discover the principles that resonate with you, and find ways to weave them into your own journey. You might just uncover the secret to thriving amidst the chaos, to leading with purpose, and to creating a life that is both successful and deeply fulfilling.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.